to start the Luthier school to pass on the techniques and methods that I've learned that are basically old school instrument making techniques in this day of modern automation and CNC machines, and there's a need to learn the hand skills that are required to actually make an instrument by hand. And there seems to be a lot of interest with folks who want to get into this field, and the methods that I teach are basically evolved from centuries-old techniques that were used back in Stradivarius' day and all the way up to the guitars that we work on now. Well, when a student comes to study under me, we talk about just what it is that they want to do and what they want to get out of it. I teach restoration and repair, but I also teach guitar making, and I can also teach guitar teching, which is a whole other element of guitar work. Some of my past students work full-time as guitar techs for prominent touring bands around the country, and that is a very viable job opportunity for somebody who goes through my school, is to do that. But there's also the repair side, and so when a guy comes to me, I try to find out what it is that they want to learn. But when they start, they come to me and I have a required tool list, which is essentially all the hand tools that are required to work on an instrument, which includes basic hand tools like screwdrivers and drill bits and things like that, but it also includes some specialty tools for like working on frets and working on intonation and bridges and things like that, some specialty tools. And once they agree to start the course, then they come in, and over the years I've perfected a process of remanufacturing old, inexpensive guitars that were made in America from the mid-30s to the late 60s, early 70s, and these are mostly made by Harmony and Kay, which were two big companies that sold guitars under hundreds of different names for department stores back in the old days. You know, it used to be, instead of the mall, you had Sears and Roebuck, and well, Sears had a music department, and so if a guitar says Silvertone on it, it wasn't made by Sears, but it was sold through Sears, and so they put their brand name on it. The same with Montgomery Ward's or JCPenney or Western Auto, and all these different stores sold these lower price model guitars with all these different names. And so for our benefit, they made thousands and thousands of these cheaper guitars, but they also made them out of good woods, which are better woods than a lot your higher end guitars are made with today. And a lot of the woods they used are now endangered woods, like Honduras mahogany, Brazilian rosewood, and things like that. So I've perfected this technique whereby we take these guitars completely apart. We take the neck off, we take the back off, we take all the internal bracing out of the guitar. And the thing that made them cheap in the first place was the internal bracing. So we remove all the internal bracing, and then we clean the shell out of the guitar after the back and the neck off. We put the kind of proprietary scalloped, sophisticated bracing that we use in our custom guitars. We put a variation of that back into these inexpensive guitars. We put them all back together, we reset the necks, we refret them, we make new bone nuts, we make new bridges and new saddles, and we upgrade the gears and everything. And what happens is my student learns all these different elements of guitar repair in one instrument. They learn neck resetting and refretting and fitting necks and fixing backs and sides and cracks and bracing and all that. They learn so much about a wide variety of issues that are with a guitar on this one instrument. And then when it's done, the remanufacturing of it creates a guitar that rivals and actually exceeds a lot of the professional grade instruments that you can buy new, and compare quite favorably to really good classic vintage guitars. So it's kind of a win-win, and we get a guitar that is the greenest guitar made because we're repurposing a cheap and expensive guitar and making it into a nice professional instrument that has a whole new life as a musical instrument. We're not cutting down any more mahogany trees or rosewood trees. And then at the same time, the student is getting this valuable training on how to properly restore guitars and how they're built and how they're designed and everything. And this gives them invaluable information that they can apply to actually as a career doing restoration work and repair on guitars.
adhesive that's left from the old bracing that was in this guitar that's been disassembled, the body here. The back's been removed and going to be some new bracing been put in, something like so top there. I'm guessing. My first day, so not sure.
Trim this edge back. Trim that all in, and what I'll do is when I trim that back, it's going to make this all flat again, where I'd cut it back previous, and I'm just going to keep cutting it back slightly to continue just having a ridge, and that will help make it fit. So I'm just going to follow my line. I'm staying large of the line. I'm not taking the line away, right?
So that part of it.
Okay, but I don't want to shoot off the end because it'll chip the heel.
All right.
So before I get to the end, I'm going to flip it over this way. The course is comprised of 2 6-month sessions. There's the entry session, and then there's an advanced session, which is optional. And for the first 6 months, basically, a guy comes in and starts the course, and we collect the old Harmony and K guitars. We have a rack full of them, and we're always buying them, and we buy them in every kind of condition imaginable. And we take the cheapest one, the simplest one that we have on the rack, and I'll give that one to the student, and then I will walk him through step by step through the rebuilding process. And I will show him and demonstrate, and then allow him to try it on his own, and then we'll rebuild this guitar together. And then the second one I will do less, and I'll show him, but I'll do less of the work and less of the work each time until he's like completely taking them apart and rebuilding them on his own. And then we filter in other things like electric guitar wiring and refinishing as we go. We filter that into the training process, but the main bulk of the process is learning to take these instruments apart. In fact, I have one instrument here that I'll show you that's completed. This guitar here is a 1951 Silvertone Super Jumbo. This was made by the K Company in Chicago in the early 50s. And you can see it's all beat up, but structurally it's very sound. But we try to keep the cosmetics as original as possible and keep the old vintage patinas. So we try not to refinish them that often. And anyway, this guitar came to us. It had no bridge on it, no pick guard. The neck was coming off. It was basically falling apart. We took the neck off. We took the back off by peeling the binding away, and then we very carefully peel the back off, and we take it off. We take all the internal bracing out, put our bracing in it, and while it's apart, we fix any structural issues so that the wood's nice and strong and solid. There's no loose components or cracks or anything like that. Put it all back together. Then we refit the neck. We plane and refret it, put all new frets, and we plane out the neck so it's nice and straight. And what we found is that over the 50, 60 years that this guitar's been in existence, all the twisting and warping that the neck is going to occur has already happened. So when we plane them out, they're all nice and straight. And then we make a new bridge with a bone saddle. We put on better quality vintage style gears, and then we get a guitar that now